I'm bigcal, and I need a shave and a haircut. Welcome to my world. So, E3 has pretty much happened, and lots of games shown off, some new, some old, quite a lot just cinematic cutscenes shown off with no actual gameplay, but yeah, there was a lot. Was it the best E3 ever? No, but we did get quite a lot of stuff worth talking about, so that's what this video is going to be. I'm not going to go through everything shown at E3 from every single conference because that would take forever. Instead, I've got a full list here of notes of just the ones that I want to discuss. Warning right at the beginning, there are some huge games not on this list that I have no interest in talking about because I don't give a flying monkey about any of them. Cyberpunk 2077. I'm just not interested. Breath of the Wild 2 announcement. Yawn. You know, so bunch of big games like that. If I don't talk about them, I simply don't care. So yeah, I haven't missed them, I just don't give a fuck. So anyway, let's get started. So E3 essentially kicked off with EA doing some, like, it was EA Play or something, where they showed a bunch of shitty games, for the most part just sports titles, and you know, Division I think and Battlefield or whatever, shooties, never interested me. But it did start off with Star Wars Jedi The Fallen Order. And I've been really looking forward to seeing this game for a while now because I love Star Wars, I enjoy Star Wars games, but we've only had Battlefront 1 and 2 from Star Wars for quite some time now, and I didn't care about the originals. I'm not interested really in online shooter games, regardless of, you know, the franchise that they're part of, and apparently, you know, EA just really fucked everybody with the Battlefront games anyway because EA are arseholes. But this one is a single player experience, story driven, no micro transactions, so that's a very good start. Can't remember the people who are actually developing it, but you know, it's EA's publishing it or whatever, they have the license, so yeah. But it looks like, you know, an action adventure game set in Star Wars, which is awesome. I've seen some people complaining about this game and what we got shown. Personally, I thought it looked great. So obviously it's set after episode 3, it's a Jedi Padawan called Cal who survives along with his master. Can't remember who his master is, but I think the name was mentioned in the gameplay, but we haven't seen them. But yeah, so obviously he's trying to save the Jedi Order in the game. Spoiler, I don't think it works. We also have Saw Gerrera, who we saw in Rogue One, who was in the Clone Wars TV show, and again in Rebels. So that's an interesting character. Nice to see that character back, especially in this game. Lightsaber combat looks really fun. Of course, you got force powers. You got usual push and pull and force jump and things like that. And then, of course, what we saw that basically came from, I guess, episode 7, where Kylo Ren, you know, used the force to stop a laser shot coming towards him. You can do that sort of here. You can freeze things, or you can simply slow them down. And then obviously someone shot, I think it was a stormtrooper shot at Cal, he slowed it down or stopped it, and then force pulled the stormtrooper in front of his own shot, which is really cool. I was disappointed to hear that there's no light side dark side thing in this, which most likely means there's no force lightning, which is my favourite force attack, and one that I always love to use even when I'm on the good side of things. Usually if there's a light side dark side, you can still usually use, you know, dark side attacks. So possibly no force lightning, which is a disappointment. I do hope we will see some more, you know, different force abilities, because just, you know, pull, push, slow down and jump in, not exactly the most varied of abilities. But yeah, the game looks really cool. It looks like you do a lot of platforming as well. It kind of seems like a mishmash between the Jedi Knight series, the later games like Jedi Academy, and the Force Unleashed games, where You still obviously have great combat and lots of fun combat, but there isn't as much. It's not like The Force Unleashed where every area just sort of has tons of enemies and just murder them all. But it's more like the Jedi, Jedi Academy, where you have some platforming and a bit of puzzle solving in between just the constant action. So I like that. That's a nice balance. So it isn't just like the Warriors games, the Dynasty Warriors games, where you just going after wave of enemy. That's fun for a while, but can get boring. So yeah, I am looking forward to that, and the release date, November 15th, 2019. I'm definitely going to be picking this up at some point for the PS4. Probably not on release, just because at the moment it costs more than I want to pay. The cheapest I can find to pre-order, it's 45 quid. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be paying that for a game. Plus, it comes out the same day as Pokemon Sword and Shield, which I have pre-ordered for under £40 because, I'm a tight bastard. But yeah, I'll probably pick this up later when it goes down in price, but I do very much want to play it. So that was all that was really notable from EA. Then we move on to Microsoft's conference, and they showed off 60 games, and almost none of them interested me. And the ones that did are exclusive to the Xbox. So, a big failure for me for Microsoft. They just had absolutely nothing. Nothing there convinced me that I need an Xbox. Anything shown there that was any good was like, yay, I can play that either on PC or PS4 or even Switch. I don't need an Xbox. So the first game was RPG Time, The Legend of Wright, which is coming out 2020. Really cool looking game. It looks stunning. You kind of got like a kid's desk. He's got a pencil sharpener, eraser, and all these things. And then in the middle is like a notebook, and it's all hand drawn animation. Looks amazing. And then you also have sort of like almost a Yoshi's Crafted World feel with some stuff where you like travel to different locations. It's all made out of cardboard and crafts. So it looks fantastic. How the gameplay is as an RPG, still yet to see that, but it is interesting to me, and I am somewhat looking forward to that. Psychonauts 2 was shown off. Very excited for this. Love the original Psychonauts game, but we did find out that Double Fine has been bought by Microsoft. Luckily, the game isn't just a Microsoft exclusive, because it was already coming out on other platforms anyway. Comes out in 2020, and I'll be picking up either the PS4 or the PC version. Probably PS4, because Limited Run Games, that I'll actually get to in a bit, they're releasing a physical version of the original Psychonauts on PS4, and I've already pre-ordered it, so yeah, I'll be getting the PS4 version of that, so probably will get Psychonauts 2 on the PS4. Then we had some more Star Wars news. The Lego Star Wars collection, the Skywalker saga. Basically, all 9 films. Comes out early 2020, obviously have to come out after episode 9, but we're going to get all of the Lego Star Wars games for the episodes 1 to 9. None of the Clone Wars spin-offs, unfortunately. It would be nice if that was bundled in, but I suppose we're getting 9 games in one. Lego Star Wars games, always a ton of fun, and I only own like 4 of them, no 5, and that includes the Clone Wars. So I am missing quite a few of those, and it is coming to the Switch. So I'll be getting the Switch version, of course, because Switch is awesome. So that's great. Then we saw Dragon Ball Project Z, which is actually now called Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. We didn't get much from the Microsoft conference, but there was like 20 minutes of gameplay along with the developer interview posted online afterwards, and it looks really good. It's an action RPG, and it kind of looks like a single player MMO. I know that makes no sense, single player MMO, but yeah, it looks kind of like that style where you go around flying around the world, go to mission points or finding side quests and things, but then once you get into battles, it's then more like a closed off RPG battle, except it's action, and it looks kind of similar to the Xenoverse games in gameplay wise. If it is exactly like that, don't know just yet. Obviously the title Dragon Ball Z suggests that yes, it is just set between Dragon Ball Z. Just move that back on. So it is going through the life of Goku from the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, most likely to the end of Dragon Ball Z. We've only seen it up to Frieza, but when asked the developer if it goes past Frieza, the developer said they couldn't say at this time, which if it only went up to Frieza, I'm pretty sure they'd just say yes. The fact that they couldn't say anything most likely means it goes past Frieza. They also mentioned that there might not be anything to do with any of the films in there, but again, there might be a few surprises, so we could see that. And whether or not we play as different characters, because Goku's out of commission quite a lot in the series, so they also said they couldn't comment on that, which again also most likely means yes at some point. Side quests look cool. The other's one where you run into Android 8 from Dragon Ball and you have to fight some Red Ribbon Army robots for him. There's a fishing minigame, which I had to laugh at this because Goku uses his tail to fish. But in Z, Goku doesn't have a tail, so he literally pulls out his tail, clips it back on and then plonks it in the water to use as a fishing rod. I just thought that was hilarious. So very much looking forward to this. Coming out early 2020, so that's cool. And yeah, I'll be most likely getting the PS4 version of that. And then to end Microsoft conference, they did announce that the Project Scarlet. Is it Scarlet or Scorpio? I think it was Scarlet. The new Xbox is coming out holiday 2020. They listed a bunch of specs, and it'll also launch with Halo Infinite. And they showed off a cinematic which did not do anything to make anybody interested in a new Halo game, I don't think. They showed fuck all basically, and graphically I was wondering, is this the Xbox One version of it? Because it did not look like high-end next-gen graphics. It looked like something that could quite easily be done on current gen, even the Switch. So yeah. Whatever, so I just wanted to mention that was announced, because it was a huge announcement, but another Xbox console, they're going to really have to pull something out of the bag to get me interested in that one. Then we move on, and it was Bethesda, I think, and the first game that looks really cool was Ghostwire Tokyo. Of course, everybody's talking about the woman developer that was presented it. She was really cool and enthusiastic, and she basically stole the show for a lot of people. Game, I think it's coming to next gen rather than this gen. I don't think they really mentioned, but I believe it was implied it's next gen. They only showed a cinematic, but it does look really cool. There's a big mystery around people simply disappearing from the streets, just vanishing, and just the clothes remain, and it's up to you to figure out what's going on. It looks like some evil spirits or something. It looks interesting. Whether or not it will be when it comes out, we have to see gameplay obviously. We don't fully know yet, but it's one definitely that I'm looking out for. Then we got Doom Eternal and Wolfenstein Youngblood, two awesome shooter games, very fun. November 22nd for Doom Eternal, July 26th for Wolfenstein Youngblood. It was just nice to see some more footage of those. We'll at some point be picking those up on the Switch. Devolver Digital had their direct and it was crazy as usual. Devolver Bootleg was announced, and this has to be the fastest time between me seeing a game being announced to me buying the game, downloading and installing it. As soon as they showed it off, before they'd even finished, I was on Steam searching for it. Page came up, a whole 1% discount, how very nice of them, hilarious. Bought it, downloaded, installed it before they'd finished talking about it. It's just such a Devolver Digital game basically. Devolver Bootleg, they've got some of their games, like Hotline Miami, and then others. My brain's kind of gone, but yeah, they're kind of like bootleg games, like they suggest, and they're just sort of like little mini games that play very similar to the real ones, but don't have the branding of them. A nice little collection of them, and it's really fun and very cheap. It was like £3.95 or something. That was with the 1% off. So very nice of them. just such a fun game. Limited Run had their own show, and yeah, there was really nothing that particularly interested me until right at the end, and they showed off Star Wars games. Lots of old Star Wars games, just one after the other. And the first one that they're releasing is Bounty Hunter, which came out on the PS2, GameCube, Xbox, and you play as Jango Fett, and it's basically you're doing a bunch of missions for Count Dooku, as he's seen if you are going to be the guy that they pick to clone for the clone troopers. So that's an interesting game. I'm very disappointed it didn't seem. I thought it was going to be a bundle of all these old games, but it does not appear to be that way at the moment. I hope there will be some games bundled, like the Jedi Knight series. I hope that all gets bundled together, but just having one game individually is just going to be terrible because there are so many of them. But I am looking forward to seeing what they do at least. Next, Watch Dogs Legion. I have a bit of a history with Watch Dogs. The original game, I bought into the hype. When they showed it off at E3, it looked tremendous, because the concept reminded me so much of one of my favourite all-time TV shows, Person of Interest, with machines constantly watching you, and you're a guy hacking in and doing all this stuff, and it looked really interesting concept. So I pre-ordered the DedSec edition for the PC. It cost me like 65 quid. It was like the first collector's edition I'd ever really bought. Got it on day one. I couldn't even get it to run because there was an issue. I had two cards running in the AMD version of SLI, or whatever it was. Two cards running together with a little bridge. The game couldn't work with two graphics cards together because Ubisoft were fucking useless. Took ages to get it to run, and when it did, it ran like shit, and I just gave up on it, truth be told. I haven't really put much time into it. Watch Dogs 2 came out, and apparently a lot of people said it was really good. They improved on a lot of things, and it was fantastic. And let's see, I did actually pick it up rather recently, so a little preview of my next gaming pickups. The deluxe edition only goes for it's like £6 odd at the moment on game.co.uk or in store. So the deluxe edition, you get the game, and you get some digital stuff and a map and that. I haven't actually tested it yet, but it's only £6. I thought I'll give it a go. Watch Dogs Legion looks amazing. It does, but it looks also really fun. So we hopefully it'll stay true to what we saw in the trailer. It's set in London, which nice to see it in England, but I kind of hate London, so I look forward to destroying that place. But the big thing with this now is that you recruit a team, and you recruit anybody you want that's walking around in the world. They've all got different abilities and what they can do. So you recruit a team, do missions with them. If they die, permadeath, which is very cool. It's a really interesting concept for it. And of course the star of that show was the fact that they had a granny assassin. She's here walking along with a gun in her hand. She's struggling to walk, taps a guy on the shoulder, he turns around, shoots him in the face. So everybody's going to want to play as the assassin granny. So it definitely looks good. I'll be keeping an eye on it, and hopefully it'll live up to the hype that it has ended up with. So yeah. Next we saw Avengers. The Avengers game that had been worked on for seemingly years now. It's been so long. It looked good from the trailer, but we didn't really see any gameplay. Apparently there's closed door gameplay was shown, and apparently it's leaked online. I haven't checked it out, but it definitely is an interesting looking game. I definitely want to pick it up when it comes out. I've seen a lot of people complain of the design of the Avengers because it does just look like a bootleg MCU Avengers with how they all look. Now, I'm fine with them not being the characters from the film. I'm fine with them not modelling Robert Downey Jr. and all this, Chris Evans and that. That's fine. But don't make them look almost like the film guys. Do your own designs. Copy something else from the comics, anything. So, yeah. But it looks really fun. It's going to be a big story-driven game. Again, I can't wait to delve into that. and see what surprises we get from it. So finally a big cool Avengers game. Been wanting this for years. So yeah, then so we move on now to the Nintendo Direct, and this is going to be a big section of the video because there was a lot that I want to talk about. Firstly, Smash Brothers, they announced Erdrick, aka the hero. Now there were a lot of people a bit confused with Erdrick's, like it's Dragon Quest 11, then they showed off Dragon Quest 8, Dragon Quest 5, I think, or 4. Who's Erdrick? Isn't that Erdrick? Is that Erdrick? They're all Erdrick. As far as I'm aware, Erdrick is the name given to the legendary hero, regardless of which game it is and who it is. So they're all technically Erdrick, but they're just called the hero in the game at the moment. Love Dragon Quest, I'm very excited for this to be in the game. Looks really cool, especially with like the little RPG fight menu for selecting which attack you want to do. That's just really cool. And then looks like your Ultimate Smash, you bring even more heroes from the series in to help you out. So yeah, I'm excited for that. Finally some DLC for Smash worth getting, because I wasn't interested in the Joker. Never played the Persona games, not really interested, no idea who the Joker was to begin with, so that didn't bother me. And then of course Dragon Quest XI S, the definitive edition. They finally announced a launch date, September 27th, 2019. I've already played through the PS4 version, definitely getting the Switch version to play through again. There's added content, plus there's a whole 16-bit style where you travel back to locations from all the previous Dragon Quest games. Very excited to do that. So yeah. Luigi's Mansion 3, still no release date for this. How hard is it to announce it's just coming out on Halloween? Really. But it looks really cool. We've got some multiplayer stuff going on, the Scarecraper mode, where you can play like 4 players and you have to capture the ghosts essentially. Luigi is back, he was in the 3DS version I believe. I haven't got that far in Luigi's Mansion 2 to find him, but he's there. You can use him obviously to solve puzzles and things, or you can have him as a multiplayer aspect, so player 2 can play as Luigi. So that's cool. The game looks fantastic. Cannot wait for Luigi's Mansion 3. Then they announced Trials of Mana Remaster, which was the sequel to Secret of Mana, which never got an official English release. It's the 3rd in the Mana series. Looks really good. That's coming out early 2020. But to keep us occupied, there is a collection of Mana which is out right now. And that's got the first one, which was like, I think called Final Fantasy Legends, because they tried to use the Final Fantasy license to get more people to buy it. That was on the original Game Boy. Then we got Secret of Mana, of course, and then Trials of Mana, but this is not the remake, it's the original SNES version, just translated. My issue with this collection, 3 games, 1 from the Game Boy, 2 from the Super Nintendo, 3 games, 35 quid, digital download. There is a physical release coming out, you can pre-order it I think on like base.com for about £33 odd. It's a bit cheaper for physical, which is nice, but 3 games, very old games, that price, that is not a good price, Nintendo. You know, I'm interested in the collection, but I'm not paying that for it. I'm not, unfortunately. A game I'm not interested in, but I have to mention it because holy fuck, The Witcher 3 is coming to Switch with all of the DLC on a single cartridge, the 32GB cartridge, with no additional download needed. How the fuck did they fit all of that in the 32GB cartridge? Yes, it's a downgrade from the PC and the console versions that we've already got. Duh. But even then, it still looks really good, and all the DLC as well. It's no additional download, 32 gig, that is insane. So from now on, any developers claiming that a game won't fit on the Switch or can't be done on the Switch, bullshit. If The Witcher 3, all its content can be on a 32GB cart, any game currently out right now can go on the Switch. I'm sorry, it can, if you put some time and effort into it. So yeah, hopefully it opens the door. People see, wow, this can be done. We might start getting some bigger ports to the Switch, even though it's still a very old game now. Got it here actually, I've been playing it. GTA 5, give us this on the Switch, please. I would happily buy it again on the Switch. So, you know, it can be done, we know. Oh, then we got the Contra Collection was announced from Konami. We know it's been coming out, but it was announced it's out now. So yay! And that's like what, 16 quid or 16.99, and you get like 8 or 9 classic games. Like I said, the collection of Mana, you only get 3 games, 35 quid. Something not right there. And then coming out September 27th this year, Contra Rogue Core. This is not a Contra game. What the fuck is that? No, nobody wants that. Go away. Give us a real Contra fucking game if you're going to release a new one. Not that shite. I'd sooner just pick up the Contra collection, which I will do at some point. Then Panzer Dragoon is getting a remaster. So maybe that'll open the doors for Panzer Dragoon Saga at some point, because that is a game I would like to try out at some point, but it costs a fortune, so I'm never going to pick it up for the Saturn, because A, I don't own a Saturn, and B, if I did, I wouldn't be able to afford Panzer Dragoon Saga. The game itself, for a remaster, it looks like a bit of a budget one, to be honest. It doesn't look that great. I hope they release a demo of it. It's a game I'd at least like to try out, but I don't want to pay full price for it. Just to give it a go. Release a demo, let me see what it's like, and if it's good, I'll pick it up. So yeah, Astral Chain is coming out August 30th, much sooner than I was expecting. I was honestly expecting next year. Looks really interesting still, not entirely sold on it, but again, if they release a demo of it, definitely would like to try it out. At the moment I'm sort of half and half on it. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, they showed off some more footage of that. We know it's coming out July 19th, I've got it on pre-order, still looks amazing, cannot wait for it. But they also announced there's going to be some paid DLC for it from Marvel Knights, which I think includes like, you know, Daredevil and the Punisher and a bunch of other people, so that's great. X-Men and Final Fantasy. I saw the FF that I'd written down, just Fantastic Four. Thank God there's no Final Fantasy content coming to it, because fuck Final Fantasy. Yeah, that's a big game I haven't mentioned because I don't give a shit about a remaster of Final Fantasy 7. Yeah. So, an expansion pass coming out for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. They're going to get my money for that because I've already pre-ordered the standalone game. I'm going to pick up the expansion pass as well. Spyro Trilogy, officially announced now for the Nintendo Switch, coming out September 3rd. Great trilogy. I got it on the PS4. I fell in love with the Spyro games thanks to that, because I was never really into them before. There's a good chance I'll double dip and get the Switch version as well. New Super Lucky's Tale, coming out in the fall of this year. That of course was an Xbox One exclusive for a while, then it came to Steam, and I was going to pick it up on Steam when it dropped in price a bit, but coming out on the Switch now with some additional content. Yeah, I'm going to pick it up for that. So again, even less of a reason for anyone to buy an Xbox. And then, was that it for Nintendo? Oh no, of course, they announced another Smash Brothers DLC character, didn't they? Banjo-Kazooie. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. I'm going to be picking that one up as well. I've seen so many reaction videos to this with people just like screaming and losing their mind and crying. It's just like, fuck's sake, it's a DLC character for Smash Brothers. Calm down, mate. It's like, yeah, it's cool. Okay. I'm not jumping about going, Jesus, get a grip, people. I don't understand when they just lose their shit over it. It's like, yeah, it's cool. Whatever. Yeah, I like it. I'm going to be buying it. Give us the rare replay on Switch, please. And then just as that was probably E3 all wrapped up, Konami showed up and was like, TurboGrafx 16 Mini! Out of fucking nowhere! The TurboGrafx 16 is a console I've never played, but I've always really been interested in. And so I'm very excited for this Mini. So there's going to be 3 different versions depending on the region. In Japan, they're getting the PC Engine Mini, because that's what it was over there. In America, they're getting the TurboGrafx 16 Mini, because that's what it was. Here in Europe, we're getting the PC Engine Core Graphics Mini. Yeah, thanks for that name, which is basically just looks like the Japanese version, but a different colour. I assume that's what we got over here originally. I wasn't even certain that the PC Engine TurboGrafx thing even came out over here. But yeah, we're getting that. That's really cool. They've announced 6 games for it so far, I think. Well, technically 7. R-Type, great shooter. Very excited for that. New Adventure Island. Adventure Island games. Never actually played them, but I've always wanted to. Ninja Spirit. I'm assuming that's a ninja game. I actually can't remember. Ys, Book 1 and 2. 2 RPG games. Very excited for those. Dungeon Explorer. I've heard good things about that. And Alien Crush, which is that the pinball game that looks really good. So those are the ones that have been announced so far. There's more to come, no release date as of yet. I know it's probably not the best of games on the system, but I would love the first Legend of Heroes game to show up on here, because I love the Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky trilogy. So I'd like to see the original game from that core series on here. Yeah, so that was E3. A lot of cool stuff, no doubt about it. Nintendo blew away everybody, for sure. But we got a lot of great stuff. I'm very much looking forward to a lot of games. I've already got a bunch pre-ordered that we knew about, and there's a lot more that we know is coming out now that I do want to pre-order as well, but thankfully those aren't coming out well next year, so this year's already sold. You know, tons of great games coming out this year that we knew about, a few surprises as well, and next year is looking to be really great as well. So those are my thoughts on E3. Let me know down below what games you're excited for. I'm bigcal, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Okay, so at the start of this video I mentioned that any games that I didn't mention, I hadn't missed out, it's that I didn't care about them. Except that I did miss out 2 games that were shown off at E3 that I am interested in. The first is No More Heroes 3. Very excited for this game. I have no interest in that No More Heroes game that is currently out on the Switch, that like mini games and hack and slash. It just didn't really look fun to me, not compared to the normal No More Heroes gameplay. So I'm excited for that. And the other one is Yooka-Laylee, the Impossible Layer. I think that's what it was. I did post about it on Twitter and I kept getting it wrong. I called it the Impossible Laid, then the Impossible Raid. It's the Impossible Layer. And it's a 2D Yooka-Laylee game now instead of a 3D one, although they probably will do a 3D sequel. But this one looks kind of like a Donkey Kong Country game, which is why I'm really excited about it, because we haven't had a new Donkey Kong Country game since the Wii U. Obviously we got Tropical Freeze ported to the Switch, but I've already played it on the Wii U, so I haven't bought it on the Switch. So this will fill, you know, that void of a 2D Donkey Kong style game until we potentially get one. So yeah, those were just a few missed games, well, 2 whole missed games that I forgot to mention. So yeah, thanks for watching, see you again next time.